Hello everyone, this is part 5 of What If Naruto Failed and Chose a Different Path, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. The aging third Hokage didn't think anything could surprise him anymore after what had recently happened just a short 2 days' time. However, when Slade appeared before him using his Foxfire teleportation jutsu while holding a struggling in pain Naruto in his metal-covered arms, it was then things changed entirely. The boy's ear-splitting cries of pain that he tried to control were now echoing through his once quiet office as Slade put the boy in the chair in front of the Hokage's desk. "Slade, what is going on? What has happened to Naruto?" said Sarutobi as the boy continued to clutch his en with his right hand. It seems the hatred of the Hyuga clan elders towards Arashi knows no bounds from what is on the back of his en. "Take a look for yourself," said Slade as he had seen the mark on the boy before taking him here and now he needed the Hokage to see this. The Hokage nodded, looking at Naruto from behind, removing the boy's near iron-clad grip on his end, seeing a seal covered by the back of his blonde hair. It is the same seal used on Arashi when he was training, but this is more advanced aggressive version than the one that Arashi received that only becomes active when someone wishes it, so person goes berserk before their chakra coils burn out, said the third Hokage as he recognized the design flow of the seal as it branched into parts of the en where it was said strong currents of chakra flowed from the coils more than anywhere else. It appears someone from Hyuga clan wants the boy to go crazy so they have an excuse to K him months from now. Such an incident would be fresh in all the village's stupid little minds to such a degree that you would have no choice but to give in to the constant demands of King Naruto, said Slade angrily, standing next the Hokage's desk, unaware he had just slammed his fist down on the solid red oak desk crafted by the first Hokage himself, splintering it all over like a spider web design before turning into sawdust from the aftershock alone. "Yes, but not anyone can remove this one like we did Arashi's. This one, if I am reading the design right, has to be someone from the Hyuga clan that is either the elder or clan head of it using his or her own blood to remove it," said the Hokage as he was ignoring for the moment the fact he would need a new desk for filling out paperwork. "Lord Hokage, what's going on?" said Kurenai as she appeared in a whirl of leaves with a worried look in her eyes at the two men and boy in the chair. It seems the boy's state of health in this village has become unhealthy and poisoned by those who think they can undermine the Hokage's power through hidden channels, said Slade, showing Kurenai the seal as she walked over to them to see for herself. "I doubt Hiashi will want to help us out with this one as he has no love for Naruto, even though there was time he once did," said Sarutobi as he put a temporary pain suppressor seal on the boy, numbing the boy's agony for a good 5 minutes, as that was how long the seal he put over the Hyuga one would last before dissolving along with the numbness it produced. "Hiashi actually like Naruto," said Kurenai, finding that man liking anything after all he's being hard to believe in her mind. Before Hitome SD. About 2 days after the 4th SD and 20 different assassination attempts on the boy's life had been stopped, Hitome came to me. She talked me about the possibility of letting the boy stay with her and Hiashi and adopting Naruto into the family to protect him from those who would do him harm. She was one of the very few, Hiashi included at the time, that supported Naruto as a hero of the village as Arashi wished him to be. She was about to adopt him, said Kurenai, surprised that it didn't go through, because if it had then Naruto would have had a much better life. I was about to agree when all the Hyuga elders came in with scowling faces on every single one of their faces. Apparently when the Hyuga elders found out what Hitome had wanted and was going to do, they were enraged and apparently threatened Hiashi to stop Hitome's dishonoring of their clan, or else they would nullify the marriage and brand both her and their future offspring he had with her with the cage bird seal as a punishment to them both. Hiashi was among the Hyugas there besides the elders in my office before he took her outside of hearing range to discuss it with her silently, said Sarutobi as he now wished he had his pipe in hand, now buried in sawdust and wooded powder that was once his table. "I take it was never resolved even after that point," said Kurenai as she was beginning to have a sneaking suspicion about Hitome's death was by far from natural, but rather that of foul play. "No. It was publicly known by all that Hitome loved Naruto as if he were her own son and wanted to see him grow up loved by others to promote a happy childhood. We both knew that such love would have prevented any possibility of Naruto hating the village, or if he were to just run away before one day returning and destroying it. She even visited him on days when I couldn't, and keeping a watchful eye on his caretakers while she was there with him. Then one day around Naruto's 3rd birthday, she came to me angrily and told me she saw one of the female caretakers beating him with a stick, calling awful names at him, and that I should do something. That was when I got Naruto the apartment and had the female caretaker secretly executed at the hands of Hitome by having her use a gentle fist advance form of king that made the woman painfully, slowly, and for the most part quite effectively, said the third, eyeing his desk wishing for that pipe, but broke away from it as he still needed to fix Naruto, somehow. As much as I would love to hear more of the history of all this, I already have first-hand experience from the already suffering Naruto before us. Can we continue on with helping him? I'm only asking because the seal you put on is going to wear off soon and he's going to start screaming again in pain, said Slade as the seal, the professor, put on Naruto was starting to thin out and fade over the Hyuga seal. Unfortunately, I don't know how though. Only Hiashi or an Hyuga elder could remove it with their clan blood to deactivate the seal, and I doubt Hiashi or any clan elder would be so willing as to help the boy from what you have all just heard, said a tired Sarutobi, rubbing his temples trying to ignore the fact that Naruto was quite screwed when it came to getting help at the moment. Do not be so sure, Sarutobi. You said it had to be the blood of a Hyuga clan head or a Hyuga clan elder, but what about a Hyuga clan heiress? Said Slade, eyeing the door before opening it, receiving a frightening mouse squeak at the panting, tired, and of course a now quivering form of one Hyuga Hinata. Hello Slade san. I wish Tita SCN Naruto K-kun, said Hinata as she looked up at his mask, finding it odd that her all-seeing bloodline could not see past his face as she had it currently activated, seeing and hearing everything that was said up till now. Of course. Who am I to stand in the way of true love, said Slade playfully, despite the situation couldn't help but smile as the Byakugan was removed from her eyes instantly and was replaced with a blush on her face. I wonder if blushing can be considered a bloodline limit. If it was, she would be the first to possess it to such a degree, no doubt about it, thought Slade as the shy girl that was Hinata entered the room, seeing Naruto clutching his N with the third and Kurenai beside him as he sat in the chair biting back the pain he was feeling. Hello Hinata. Come to support Naruto, said Sarutobi, who found the girl's slight finger pressings and body fidgeting slightly to be humorous due to the comment he just made, but it left the instant Naruto screamed in pain again, no longer able to support it anymore. I assume you heard everything, am I correct, Hinata? Hinata nods. Then I need you to prick your finger just brought to draw some of your blood and smear it on the back of his N where the seal is, while Slade, Kurenai, and myself hold him down as removing the seal creates even more pain, said Sarutobi as he now saw the look of horror on the girl's eyes of hurting the boy she admired, even if it was meant to hurt him. I will try, said Hinata in a barely whisper-sounding voice as she approached Naruto from behind while the three adults held the boy down by his arms and shoulders. Kurenai handed her a hairpin as they only needed a drop of blood and gave it to the girl, who held it now in her left hand while having her index finger pointing out as if ready to receive the puncture. Hinata looked one more time at a nearly ready to screaming in pain Naruto before looking at her hands before pricking her right index finger, waiting for the drop of blood to come out of finger before spreading it on the seal on his N. Please forgive me Naruto K-kun for the pain you are about to go through, thought Hinata as even her thoughts were filled stuttering as the last thing she wanted to do was make him suffer. Sure enough, to Sarutobi's belief, Naruto screamed, struggled, and thrashed around in pain as the seal burned itself away as he was held down by the pair's 6 arms pressing down on him. The pain yelled in his head, making Slade wince as the echo of his yell went directly to him, making things for him most unpleasant for both of them. After a good 5 minutes of sheer unremorseful pain, Naruto finally stopped, exhausted, and collapsed back into the chair he was in, unconscious. Well, I'm glad that's over, said an exhausted Kurenai as she had heard from the other kids how Naruto could move with so much stamina and strength. She had merely shrugged off the stories off as nothing more than a bunch of wild tales made up by the children who saw him perform the pranks he pulled on stores and their owners. Looks like they aren't stories after all, and what's more is that if all of them are true, then I have some dirt on several Junin and Anbu I know I can get favors out of when the time comes, thought Kurenai as she remembered how she heard the story of how a mere 6-year-old Naruto outran 3 Junin, 5 Chunin, and too angry off-duty Anbu, he had jump over them, spilling one's drink on the other, for a solid 5 hours. Kurenai remembered how she had heard how the Hokage finally appeared and put a stop to the rampage they were causing by using a cage-level genjutsu on all of them, getting them all to calm down. To think this boy that is Kyuubi's vessel could get into so much trouble yet at the same time design it so it only helps him in the end. With the final thoughts for Kurenai on the matter as she turned to see a worried Hinata who seemed to be a good 2 to 3 seconds away from breaking out into sobbing tears over Naruto's current state of unconsciousness. Don't worry Hinata, all the boy needs right now is few hours of sleep, maybe some old-fashioned instant ramen, and, perhaps a get-well kiss from you, said Slade, making Hinata blush so deep a shade of red she looked close enough to resemble a giant GR before she passed out at the thought of kissing her crush. Did you have to embarrass her like that, Slade? Said Sarutobi as Kurenai picked up the girl and placed her on the couch near the door while Slade chuckled as a trickle of blood trailed down the girl's nose. Funniness aside, we have to talk about the seriousness of what we discovered with the seal that was on Naruto's end just now and how his continuous training at being a ninja is being stunted, for the lack of a better word. In order for Naruto to truly reach his full potential and to be strong to embrace his true heritage, I need to take the boy with me if he is to become strong without interruption, said Slade to Sarutobi, not minding the fact that he was speaking with Kurenai in the room as she would have to understand things when they were explained to her better. I see. Where will you go to take the boy for training? Said Sarutobi as he had a strange funny feeling that Kurenai should not be here for this. Why, to Demon World, of course. I have a few contacts there that can help the boy with his training and make him ready for anything this world can throw at him, said Slade, getting Kurenai's full attention while Sarutobi looked at Slade as if he was about to K Naruto himself. Demon World. But how can you get there? Unless, said Kurenai as everything that had happened recently came together for her, from the man's sudden appearance to the man beating Kakashi, Anko, and then King the villager with his king intent when the man tried to get a hit in on Naruto with a stone he had picked up as they had all walked by. Sarutobi could only sigh as Kurenai drew 3 kunai into her hands at the ready them at Slade and stood in protective stance over Hinata, ready to protect the girl with her life. I would think after all the time you spent with me with these two that you would see I'm not here to hurt you, said Slade, walking slowly towards her, making the woman tense. I don't suppose that you were actually going to divulge you were the Kyuubi and free from your sealed prison, said Kurenai, who did not know why Sarutobi had not done anything to prevent Slade from being free as he was now. Actually I did, but considering today's events my hand was forced, and beside I thought after today you would see I'm not a bad guy. At least not to you. Have I ever given you the impression that I was going to hurt you or anyone else for that matter that was even close to you? Besides, I am not exactly guilty of the crimes your Kohono elders as well as your fellow villagers have on me. Sarutobi will gladly explain it to you while I go and head to the hospital, said Slade, walking by Kurenai to the door, surprising the genjutsu mistress greatly. Wait, why are you going to the hospital? Said Kurenai as she found Kyuubi, or rather Slade's behavior was slightly different than what she would expect. Why, to deliver my get well card to Anko. Well, that and to snap Kakashi out of his current funk that he is in, but I'll digress, said Slade as he left without another word. Explain, said Kurenai, who was so angry right now she was considering using a special interrogation genjutsu on the Hokage, whether it would be treason or not. Sigh, you better sit down Kurenai, as this will take some time to explain, said Sarutobi, sitting down in his chair, ignoring the noticeable gap between them due to the lack of his table not being there. Hospital 20 minutes later. Slade walked through the hospital as if he were a normal person and went up to the less than competent receptionist who really wasn't doing her job well. Excuse me, miss, but I am looking for a friend of mine. Her name is Anko, a Junin ninja of the Leaf. Could you tell me what room is she staying in? Said Slade in a very polite voice that made women swoon over his words. The receptionist was no exception, as she now worked more than she had her entire time working there, all for a single room with one person in it. Oh. Let's see here. Here it is, room 263, 4th floor, you can't miss it, said the young receptionist, slightly blushing as the man's voice was the most vibrant voice she had ever heard. Thank you. You have most helpful, said Slade, walking away from the woman and out of plain sight as he used his Foxfire teleportation jutsu to reach her room. He knocked politely twice before entering, seeing the woman now wearing a cast around her right arm with bandages noticeably wrapped around her right shoulder, with most of them being covered by the medical gown. "What are you doing here?" said Anko as she chose not to hide her disgust for the demon for what he had called her before. "Why, I am apologize, of course. For the name calling, though not the injury," said Slade as he proceeded to take out an envelope from his left hand and handed it to her, which she took reluctantly. "What's this?" said Anko, trying to feel the contents of the envelope inside with her one hand, as she couldn't do a scanning jutsu yet due to her one arm being inoperable. "If you must know, it's a get well card, and you should read it when I leave, as I have to visit Kakashi after I talk to a nurse or receptionist about his whereabouts," said Slade as his trickster side that he acquired from years of being a fox demon were now telling him to leave, as the gift in the card was not too pleasant when activated. "Oh, he left earlier and went home to rest at his house. I don't know the location, but you can ask Kurenai, as she's been there a couple of times. I keep on telling her to go on a just one date with the man to get to know him better, but she doesn't listen to me. She keeps saying he is a book-reading pervert just like the guy who creates that junk, and while that maybe it shouldn't stop her from breaking that habit out of him," said Anko as she found the man nice to talk to when he wasn't hurting people like her. "I'll ask her eventually when I find time for it. Though it will be difficult to have her tell me now that the fox is out of his vessel, so to speak," said Slade, and it was then that the Junin ninja that was Anko got the meaning behind his words. "So she knows, huh? Shame really when you think about it. She visited me earlier before going out to spy on you after seeing a picture of you, and I think she had a crush on you like that Hinata girl does on your vessel. Tell me, is it true he beat a high Chunin ninja by yourself while you went back inside him to sleep?" said Anko as the rumor mill in regards to that attack had been spreading slowly around the ninja ranks like crazy. "As true as I am a demon. Now if you will excuse me, I must get back to my vessel as I must go to continue his training." "Friends," said Slade, extending left hand so she could shake with the hand that wasn't damaged in their scuffle. "Sigh, we're friends. Though I know I'm going to regret it," said Anko before she and Slade let go of each other's hands and the masked metal form of Kyubi left the room, shutting the door being him. "My dear Snake Anko, you have no idea how much you are going to regret opening that envelope. Get well soon, indeed. Hehehe," thought Slade, using his teleporting jutsu once more to get a window-side view of the event before he headed back to the Hokage's office. Meanwhile, Anko just stared at the envelope Slade had given her that held her get well card and opened it with the help of her free hand and her teeth. She took out the card and opened it up and started reading. Read it. "Even though you are hurting and in pain, you'll find that most things in life are not without gain. You have found a friend and you have found relief. Don't let this hospital room fill you with grief. If it's not that, then it's the hospital food that gets you down. Soon you will have the strength in you to remove that frown. Get well soon. Sincerely, Slade, the Industrial Saboteur Master. P.S. There is a seal below for you to activate. Press on it to receive my gift." Not one to turn down gifts, Anko looked down at the strange seal, wondering what her gift exactly and why she had a funny feeling she recognized that seal on it from somewhere. Well, at least the card itself wasn't sappy. Maybe he is not such a bad demon after all, thought Anko as she had to admit only to herself that demon in that form had a cute butt. Pressing down on the seal symbol, Anko now saw the glowing orange-reddish color of the seal activate before staying silent. Before Anko could understand what was going on, a loud boom could be heard throughout the hospital, followed by a woman screaming in anger at being deceived. "That lousy double-crossing bastard. When I find him, I'll make him beg for the death god," yelled Anko as she was now covered as well as the room in rainbow paint, as she now realized where she had seen that symbol as she continued her temper tantrum, not noticing the camera flashing outside the window being used by a masked-faced metal-covered man smiling as he had dirt on the woman to keep her from retaliating. Anko had been in one of the stores that had denied Uzumaki Naruto access a few years back, wondering if she could buy a red short skirt or a gray one when the boy struck. She had her back turned when the boy planted the scroll and he was gone before she could detect his chakra signature. When she turned around, she noticed the store owner pick up a scroll off the ground and opened it while walking towards her. Almost instantly the scroll exploded with pink and purple paint covering her, the store owner, and all the other customers within the store itself. Immediately she went after the kid, and after an unbelievable chance of a good 20 minutes she caught him and asked him, while he was hanging upside down while holding his ankle, only once why he did what he did, making her look like something from a horror fic. Naruto had explained to her that when he went in there once they hadn't kicked him out and let him buy things at outrageous prices, and at the same time Sasuke came in shortly after paying for similar things at a fraction of cost to nearly free of charge. He said felt he need to teach them a lesson, the customers be damned, and he was sticking to it till the day he SD. Hearing this, Anko had let the kid go due to his reasons, guts, and the fact that he was not remorseful, since those who got nailed, with her being the exception, got what they deserved, which was in a strange, weird sense correct, as he had been wronged by the entirely. Now she was regretting it and vowed to make Slade pay for pulling an Uzumaki Naruto on her if it was the last thing she did. When I get my hands on you, thought Anko, as her thoughts of delivering pain to Slade in multiple ways were silenced by a doctor who, after getting past waves after waves of king intent, hit her with a strong sedative with enough strength to put down 5 people. Hokage's tower moments later. Shortly after Slade reappeared in the Hokage's office, the third left them to their own devices and left the room to give them privacy. Kurenai apologized for her actions, even though she felt that she had every right to do what she did. No apologies necessary, my dear, you did what you had to do, and had you known earlier we wouldn't be having this conversation now. How did Hinata take the news of the boy's departure? Said Slade as he was looking over at the girl, who seemed to be in a new position from the one she had been in earlier when she fainted originally. Unfortunately, Hinata did what she always does when she hears something about Naruto, whether good or bad. She fainted, and this time it was out of pure depression. Also, would you please tell me why I just heard an anger-enhanced scream that sounded like Anko's psychotic-filled voice coming from the hospital that seemed to be directed at you? Said Kurenai, as she had a feeling she was going to get an earful of this later when Slade had left for Demon World with Naruto. I gave her the get well card in hopes that the prank that I pulled on Anko would make her laugh, considering the message inside the card gave it all away. How was I supposed to know that she would in fact be angry instead of laughing her wounds open? Lied Slade, as he knew fully well what he was doing when he gave her the card. I certainly knew, and you should have told me whether you did know or not. I know how Anko acts when someone does something like this to her, and she is going to be having a fit for months on end. She will try to get you back for this, even if she has to go to Demon World herself, said Kurenai, as it was a well-known fact that anyone messing with Anko would either be asked to wish to the gods they were. Not if I hold on to the pictures of her being covered in rainbow paint, she won't. And in case she tries to take the original from me, which she cannot, I have duplicates ready to print in the Kohona newspapers. Here, take 2. One for Anko to know I have reputation-crushing dirt on her, and one for you to hold on to just in case she tries to make your heart-filled day purely miserable. You can hang it over her head to get her off your back almost any time you feel the need to. Take it from me, as I have lots of experience in these types of matters, Kurenai. It helps to have a solid edge over someone like her, even though she is your friend, said Slade, as he had handed her 2 copies of the original picture of a paint-covered, angry Anko that when seen Kurenai couldn't help but laugh at seeing Anko the way she was. I have to admit it is funny, said Kurenai, as she pocketed both photos, but put each one in separate pockets so Anko wouldn't know she had a copy till the woman bugged her on a really bad day. What's funny? Said Naruto, coming around, as he had been out for some time since the Hyuga seal had been removed, and the third Hokage taking this time to come back into his office as he needed some things. Nothing, Naruto, just a private joke, I'll tell you later. However, you and me need to head to Demon World so we can continue your training without interruption, said Slade in a serious voice, getting Naruto's full attention. When do we leave? Said Naruto, getting up only to find that his weights were making it difficult to move with already exhausted legs. Right now. We'll be back on the final day of next year's exams, so you will be able to get your ninja headband. You are also going with just the clothes that you have on your back, Naruto, so make sure you take care of what you have on. I also trust his clothing and the other items we bought will be here when he returns. Said Slade, getting a quick nod from the third before the old man motioned for Kurenai to get him to bring them back to his office to put in storage when the time came. I was wondering why he got Naruto clothes that would look baggy on him. Now I think I understand why, thought Kurenai, as she knew exactly where the packages were. Okay, let's go, said Naruto, walking over to Slade, who called forth demonic chakra to his metal hands as he did several hundred seals perfectly before the chakra became blood red and the chakra reshaped itself into claws. Demonic jutsu, demon world portal, said Slade in a deep demonic voice that made Sarutobi shiver, remembering what happened 11 years ago, while Kurenai shivered for an entirely different reason, though if anyone asked she would say out of past reasons before ending such a conversation. Slade ignored them and slashed his two demonic chakra clawed into empty space, tearing a hole, or rather portal as the name suggested. Naruto, just so you know, since you would have technically passed had the teachers cheated you in the last exam, I'm making you an unofficial ninja now and you will declared one officially when you return, said the third Hokage. Looking in, they all could see a vortex of sorts swirling purple like waves of energy with lightning striking different areas in the vortex randomly. Wait, yelled Hinata, who had surprised everyone in the room as no one expected her to scream that loudly before. When Hinata had awakened originally from her faint episode after removing the dreaded seal on Naruto's end, Kurenai had, with the permission of the Hokage, explained to her the deep secret Naruto kept from everyone. She also told her that what he held inside of him was in fact Slade himself and the history behind the man and the Hokage. She had accepted that as it seemed logical when she realized it all from the hate-filled stares that Naruto received, how they chased him out of stores even before would try to set foot in them, and how she remembered when she was younger her mother would get into loud arguments with her father over the safety of Naruto. Especially after her mother had told her father the beating Naruto had received at the orphanage before getting the apartment. If I don't do this now I will regret it forever till he returns, thought Hinata as she began calling for all the internal strength she had to her heart to overpower her shyness. If Naruto falls in love with that girl and they settle down, he is going to be in for the ride of his life with her on their honeymoon. Hehehe, thought Slade as he and Naruto were a few steps away from the entrance to Demon World. What is it, Hinata-chan? Said Naruto, looking at her curiously, all the while the girl was blushing once more to no end and looked like she was struggling with a decision about doing something or not. IIW wanted to say BBS strong in D Demon W World and I will be BT2 in T this 01, said Hinata, who did the next thing neither the adults nor Naruto himself saw coming. She kissed him on the cheek before backing to see a now stunned blushing Naruto in front of her. Thanks Hinata. IIW will, said Naruto as it was the only thing he could say at the moment before Slade stared laughing. I think Hinata has created the first ever stuttering jutsu in the history of this world, said Slade, patting the boy on his head, snapping Naruto out of his trance as they walked into the portal that closed up behind them after they went through it. You did good, Hinata. Not only did you see him off, but you got him thinking about you as a possible girlfriend in the future, thought Kurenai as she saw the shy girl blushing a whole new red the Junin never thought could have existed with a spaced out look on her face. Hinata, are you all right? Said Kurenai as she waved a hand in front of the shy girl's face, only to realize that Hinata had done something no other woman had ever done before. She had fainted while she was still standing. Demon World. Naruto and Slade exited the portal with it closing behind them as the two looked at their surroundings. Purple sky with black clouds, sinister-looking trees, and finally there were demons and animals with glowing red eyes looking at them like they were fresh meat. However, once they sensed what Slade was, they backed off instantly, knowing it was a meal ticket that very few if any could afford. The smell brimstone, pure evil, and the ever-loving stench of death. Can't you just smell the glory of it all? Said Slade, breathing it all in deeply as he did when he first got out of Naruto's body. Naruto on the other hand just looked around, finding the place more disturbing than Slade did, though with Slade being a former human psychopath now turned demon lord, it was only natural that he find this place to be comfortable. Slade-sensei, what are we going to be doing first? Said Naruto, wondering what sort of training they were going to do. What you are going to do is be quiet while we have a little talk with your demon tenant who resides in you, said a voice in the shadows that appeared in the form of a short man wearing nothing but black down to his shoes, with tips of white at the edges of his dark black hair, and a third now slightly glowing eye on his forehead. Hello, hi, I see you are alive and healthy. Is Kurama around? I really need to speak to both you and my cousin if he has not already been killed yet by some demon, said Slade, ignoring Naruto's bug-eyed look at finding out that he had a cousin, or the fact that this three-eyed person in front of both of them was only a few inches taller than the boy was. I'm here cousin, alive and well like Hiei, though you being alive is a very difficult thing to imagine right now. We had heard rumors of you being but seeing you standing here before us proves the rumors are unfounded, said Kurama, his long red hair in a ponytail while wearing a white-robed kimono with gold lines running down the arm and the leg sleeves. Well, the rumors, as we all now know, were exaggerated. However, I am not here to go about discussing prefabricated deaths. I am here to have you two assist me in the boy's much-needed training to become the ninja he wishes to be. Starting with the much-needed purging of the malnourishment from his body to help in him reaching his proper height for when he's older, and then giving him the Jaganai like the one you posse's Hiei, said Slade, making everyone's eyes widen at Slade's last half of the sentence. At his age he might not live through the procedure, and the person who did mine has been now for 5 years now. As far as I know, no one was as precise in such skillful surgery than him, and if you say me, then my answer to you in advance in the matter is no. I am not going to do it, said Hiei, as he could believe that the demon lord would have him do such a thing. I wasn't asking you, Hiei, as I need you to train him in controlling it as well as the dark powers it possesses, along with being his sword master. I want my cousin here to perform the surgery, as he is the only person within our family that I know of he can be just as good with a scalpel as me, said Slade, now getting Kurama's full attention and surprise at that moment, though he should have expected it, considering Hiei was never, or was for that matter, the obvious choice. If you're so good with a scalpel, why not do it yourself out of, said Hiei, though it was more of a statement than a question. Because I have to be in Naruto to make sure he doesn't after the Jaganai has been implanted on his forehead. Kurama is the only one I can trust with the operation. I want him to be considered invincible when we return to Konoha. I want him to see just how strong he is, so that when he becomes Hokage of the village they will have a lot of crow to eat for the way they mistreated him. Now are you in or out? Said Slade, looking them in the eyes with his one, waiting for their response. I'll help you, cousin, but not because you are related by family. They say no bad deed goes unpunished, and if what you are saying is true about him being mistreated by the people in the village, then it would be a fitting punishment to have him be strong enough to become the Hokage as you say he should be, said Kurama, receiving a nod from Slade while Naruto was just mentally shocked. You got me in too. After all, someone has to teach him how to master the Jaganai and the Dragon of the Darkness Flame, said Hiei, as he was considered the one true master of the fire, and he had been meaning to take on an apprentice as of late as any master would. Good. Let's get started right away, said Slade, as they all turned to Naruto, who could only gulp comically as he knew he was in for a rough ride. This is going to hurt a lot, but it's worth it. I hope, thought Naruto, as he could only nod his head, and the four went to an undisclosed location to begin what would be considered miserable as hell for Naruto. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.